In this episode, we venture into another mysterious and beautiful polar world, the Arctic. The Arctic Ocean is the largest ocean in the world, covering most of the Arctic region. Unlike Antarctica, which is mostly land, over 2/3 of Arctic consists of the ocean. The Arctic region is one of the coldest areas on Earth, with much of it covered in ice and snow, including ice sheets, sea ice, and icebergs. The ice and snow reflect sunlight, resulting in less absorption of solar heat in the Arctic. Winter temperatures are extremely low, often dropping below -40 degrees Fahrenheit, and summers are relatively cold, with temperatures rarely exceeding 50 degrees Fahrenheit. The frigid temperatures and the prolonged cold contribute to the Arctic being covered in ice and snow for most of the year. On Earth, there is a point where standing there, all you can see around you is southern direction. That point is the northernmost tip of the Earth, the North Pole. It is enigmatic, and since its discovery, countless explorers have sought to conquer it. Many navigators and adventurers have attempted to reach the North Pole, but despite their arduous efforts, none have succeeded. The exploration of Arctic region can be traced back to early adventurers who bravely ventured into the extreme and mysterious area in search for new sea routes, resources, and scientific knowledge. After the 16th century, Marco Polo's travelogue and the discovery of the New World ignited a great fascination among European countries for the mysterious and wealth-laden Orient. In the early 19th century, British naval officer John Ross conducted a series of Arctic expeditions. Between 1818 and 1833, he embarked on multiple journeys attempting to find the Northwest Passage to the Arctic. While he did not succeed in finding a navigable route to Asia, his expeditions provided valuable knowledge and experience for future explorers. Indeed, the disappearance of Sir John Franklin, a British explorer, greatly contributed to the expansion of geographical knowledge about the North American Arctic region. The search for Franklin's lost expedition in the mid-19th century led to a deeper understanding of the Arctic's ocean, current, and ice drift phenomena. Explorers realized that in order to better adapt to the local environment, it was essential to learn from the indigenous people of the Arctic region, who possessed valuable knowledge and experience. Between 1893 and 1896, the Norwegian Nansen expedition, also known as Fram expedition, employed a specially designed ship to navigate through the drifting ice of Arctic Ocean with the goal of reaching the North Pole. While they did not reach the exact geographic North Pole, they came close in 1895. During their drift, they conducted extensive scientific research and measurements. The expedition, led by Fridtjof Nansen, pioneered in the use of Fram, a vessel designed to withstand the pressure of the ice and follow its drift, allowing the crew to gather valuable data on the Arctic environment. It was not until 1909 that the American explorer named Robert Peary achieved the remarkable feat of being the first person to reach the North Pole. After a decade of arduous efforts, Peary fulfilled his childhood dream of being the first person to reach geographic North Pole on foot. He spent 4 years in the Arctic region, establishing friendships with the local indigenous people, the Inuit, and gaining their support for his expedition. From the Inuit, Peary learned valuable survival skills in the Arctic, including navigation techniques, the ability to travel with sled dogs, and adapting to the harsh cold environment, all of which contributed to the success of his expedition. Polar expeditions are filled with challenges. The extreme climate conditions, treacherous terrains, and obstacles posed by floating ice make the journey incredibly difficult. Explorers have to deal with dangers of extreme cold, storms, ice, avalanches, and crevices. In 1896, Peary made his first journey to the North Pole. The expedition started from Vancouver Island in Canada, where they sailed across the Atlantic Ocean and reached Greenland. Greenland served as their starting point for the overland journey. From Greenland, Peary's team traveled northward along the ice floes of the Arctic Ocean. They relied on sledges and dog teams to traverse the snow and ice-covered terrain. In the Arctic region, landmarks and geographical reference points were scarce. Peary relied on astronomical observations, surveying instruments, and compasses to determine their direction and calculate their position as accurately as possible. Starting from 1898, Peary made multiple attempts to reach the North Pole. During one of the expeditions, while a helper was removing his ice splinters from his fur boots and attempting to move his frostbitten toes, they began to fall off one by one. Peary lost 7 toes, but instead of being discouraged, it only strengthened his determination. During the Arctic expeditions, Peary and his team indeed encountered a series of health issues. One of these was snow blindness, a condition caused by the intense sunlight reflecting off the snow, damaging the eyes. The team members also suffered from severe frostbite and illnesses like cold, which further deteriorated their physical condition. The harsh climate and extreme conditions in the Arctic took a toll on their health and well-being. In 1906, prior to the official expedition to the North Pole, Peary conducted a preliminary expedition to test equipment and strategies. However, this expedition encountered severe difficulties and the team members suffered from extreme cold, storms, and hunger. Tragically, one team member died during the expedition due to the cold and weakness, which was extremely difficult to Peary and his team. It was a stark reminder of the harsh reality and the risks involved in Arctic exploration. In late February 1909, Peary embarked on his 4th attempt to reach the North Pole. He dispatched a reconnaissance team to forge ahead, establishing intermediate supply depots at regular intervals as they progressed northward. After storing an ample supply of food, the team would retreat back, slowly inching closer to the North Pole. Using this method, Peary and his companions overcame the challenges of extreme cold, fierce winds, and ice fissures. On April 4th, they crossed the 89th parallel just 1 degree away from the North Pole. Having endured temperature as low as -38 degrees Fahrenheit for 35 days, they were on the verge of reaching their ultimate goal. However, the scarcity of food hampered their progress, leaving them physically drained and unable to continue the final push to the North Pole. Peary continuously learned from his previous journeys and strategically arranged a supply line across the snow and ice-covered terrains. He established supply depots at appropriate intervals along the road, storing provisions to sustain the team during their expedition. On April 6, 1909, at 10 a.m., they finally reached their ultimate goal, the North Pole, right beneath their feet. Peary had finally realized his childhood dream, a goal that people had been striving for over the past 300 years. From that moment on, humanity gradually embarked on the exploration of the Arctic. The Arctic ice cap is a vast layer of ice formed by the freezing of seawater, covering a portion of the Arctic Ocean. During the summer, the ice cap melts, forming sea ice that floats on the ocean surface. Due to the climate change in the melting of the Arctic ice, previously ice-covered areas have become accessible, providing archaeologists with the opportunity to conduct archaeological excavations on the Arctic sea ice. In the Arctic region, ancient hunting camps, tools, woods, and bones have been discovered, offering insights into the lives of the ancient humans in the Arctic and their adaptation to the environment. Scientists utilize research stations and measurement equipment on Arctic sea ice to conduct extensive research on the Arctic environment. They monitor factors such as the ocean temperature, ice thickness, marine biodiversity, and more to understand the impact of climate change on the Arctic ecosystem. By studying these variables, scientists can gain insights into the changing dynamics of the Arctic and its ecological consequences. In 1926, the first controlled airship landed on the North Pole. In 1978, a Japanese solo adventurer accomplished the remarkable feat of being the first person in human history to reach the North Pole alone, traveling on a sled pulled by dogs. In 1986, a French doctor completed the first solo ski expedition to the North Pole, solely relying on human physical strength. These achievements mark significant milestone in the exploration of the North Pole and demonstrated the indomitable spirit of adventure and human perseverance. In the 20th century and beyond, with advancement in technology, scientific expeditions and research in the Arctic have become more frequent. Numerous scientific research stations have been established in the Arctic region. These scientific investigations have provided in-depth understanding of the Arctic and have yielded crucial data and insights for comprehending the past and addressing future climate change. The research conducted in the Arctic plays a vital role in expanding our knowledge of this unique and rapidly changing environment, helping us to better understand the Earth's climate system and its interconnectedness with the rest of the planet. Arctic research stations play a crucial role and serve important functions in the Arctic region. As significant platforms for scientific research, the stations host scientists and researchers who conduct interdisciplinary research projects. These projects encompass a wide range of disciplines, including climate change, marine ecosystem, earth science, biodiversity, atmospheric physics, and more. The research conducted at these stations contributes to our enhanced understanding of the Arctic region and aids in predicting future changes and impacts, and support efforts to protect the ecological environment. Over the years, scientific research and observational data have indicated that the Arctic region is experiencing significant climate warming. The rate of temperature increase in the Arctic is more than twice than the global average. Arctic sea ice is rapidly diminishing, and the melting of permafrost further exacerbates global climate warming. Arctic sea ice is rapidly diminishing, and the melting of permafrost further exacerbates global climate warming. Additionally, the melting of ice contributes to rising sea levels, leading to a decline in the number of plants and animals that rely on sea ice as their habitat for food source. This situation has negative impacts for the global food supplies, water resources, and ecological balance. It also contributes to the increased occurrence of extreme weather events. With the reduction of Arctic sea ice, new shipping routes are becoming possible, including the Arctic Ocean's Northwest Passage. This route traverses the Arctic Ocean, providing shipping connection between Asia, Europe, and North America. It significantly shortens shipping distance, reduces the fuel consumption and carbon emissions, and offers more convenient trade route. However, it also has negative impacts on the Arctic Ocean's ecosystem, including ship emission, wastewater discharge, and the construction and maintenance of the shipping channels. In the development of the Arctic shipping routes, it is crucial to balance economic interests with ecological conservation to ensure the preservation and sustainable development of the Arctic Ocean ecosystem. Every winter, some important sea routes in high-latitude cold regions become frozen, making navigation impossible. In order to maintain smooth shipping during winter, Russia was one of the earliest countries to attempt ice-breaking. Early ice-breaking tools were small boats that were manually or animal drawn onto the frozen sea routes. Then, heavy objects like stones and blocks of ice were piled onto the boat to increase the weight and crush the ice surface. However, these small boats without mechanical power had limited effectiveness in icebreaking. It was inspired by this primitive ice-breaking method that the world's first icebreaker was born about 160 years ago. In 1864, Russia converted a small paddle steamer into the world's first icebreaker, serving as the pioneer on the ice-covered waterways during the winter. Once this icebreaker came into operation, other countries with similar requirements for navigation frozen waterways began constructing their own icebreakers. By the end of the 19th century, countries in high-latitude region had their own icebreaker fleets. Currently, Russian boats are the largest icebreaker fleets in the world, while Finland, also located in the high-latitude region, possesses extensive experience in icebreaker design. During World War II, Britain faced a blockade by German submarines in the North Sea. In order to break through the blockade, the Soviet Union also started manufacturing such vessels, which could transport supplies through the Arctic routes. Modern icebreaker ships have a thick steel hull at the bow, supported by dense steel components. When encountering thin ice, the icebreaker can simply use its engine power to crush and open a passage. When faced with thicker ice that cannot continuously traverse, the icebreaker utilizes a method called ramming. It reverses slightly and then forcefully charges forward, repeating this process to create a path. The Arctic region is home to many unique and cold-adapted animals, such as polar bears, Arctic foxes, seals, and beluga whales. These animals have adapted to the extreme cold environment and have formed complex food chains and ecosystems in the Arctic. They play a crucial role in maintaining the ecological balance in the region. In the next episode, we will continue our exploration of the polar expeditions and venture to Mount Everest, the highest peak in the world. It is also a dream challenge for adventure enthusiasts. If you like this video, make sure to give it a like and a comment, and if you want to see the next episode, make sure to subscribe to our channel. See you in the next one!